Salams and welcome. Thank you for joining me in the Quran Summaries by Maulana Sayyid Abul Maududi Rah'ma'tul'laah. His wonderful book, the Tafhim al-Quran, the meaning of the Quran. And today we are busy with chapter number 85, Surah al-Burooj, the Constellations, or the signs of the zodiac. Right. The surah is so designated after the word al-Burooj appearing in the very first verse. Let's look at the period of revelation. The subject matter itself indicates that this chapter was sent down at Mecca in the period when persecution of the Muslims was at its climax and the disbelievers of Mecca were trying their utmost by tyranny and coercion to turn away the new converts from Islam. Let's look at the theme and subject matter. Its theme is to warn the disbelievers of the evil consequences of the persecution and tyranny that they were perpetrating on the converts to Islam, and to console the believers as if to say, if you remain firm and steadfast against tyranny and coercion, you will be rewarded richly for it, and Allah will certainly avenge Himself on your persecutors on your behalf. In this connection, first of all, the story of the people of the ditch, the Ashab al-Ukhdud. The Ashab al-Ukhdud had been related, who had burned the believers to death by casting them into pits full of fire. By means of this story, the believers and the disbelievers have been taught a few very important lessons. First, that just as the people of the ditch became worthy of Allah's curse and punishment, so too are the chiefs of Mecca also become worthy of curse and punishment. Second, that just as the believers at that time had willingly accepted to sacrifice their lives by being burned to death in the pits of fire, instead of turning away from their faith, their iman, so too also the believers now should endure every persecution, but should never give up the faith of Deen al-Islam. Third, that God's acknowledging whom displeases the disbelievers and is urged on by the believers is dominant and master of the kingdom of the earth and the heavens. He alone is praiseworthy, and He alone is watching what the two groups are striving for, the believers on the one hand and the disbelievers on the other hand. Therefore, it is certain that the disbelievers will not only be punished in hell for the disbeliefs, but they too will suffer punishment by a fire as a fit recompense for their tyranny, cruelties, and dictatorships. Likewise, this is also certain that those who believe and follow up their belief with good deeds, Amanu wa amilu salihat, the iman followed by the salihat, the good deeds, should go to paradise, and this indeed is the supreme achievement. Then the disbelievers have been warned so as to say, God's grip is very severe. If you are proud of the strength of your armies, you should know that the hosts of Pharaoh, the armies of Pharaoh and the armies of Thamud were even stronger and more numerous than you. Therefore, they were the superpowers of their eras. They were the superpowers of the world, right? But they also were turned to dust. Therefore, you should learn a lesson from the fate that they met. God's power has so encompassed you that you cannot escape His encirclement. And the Quran that you are bent upon belying is unchangeable. It is inscribed in the preserved tablets, which cannot be corrupted in any way whatsoever. That brings us to the end of the summary of chapter 85, Surah al-Burooj, the Constellations. Stay well, look after yourself. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen.